If this is your first one that you've joined, this is episode 6 of a series that we're rolling out. These are going to become podcasts as well as the video of people watching live on Facebook, and then this will end up on YouTube and other platforms. We've covered a lot of topics over the last 6 weeks with a lot of industry leaders and some bright sparks to kind of share their experience and help you get through these weird times that we're living in. But today we're joined by Eddie Daniels from Bouncy Castle Network, Eric Dooley from Deliver the Party and Festival of Lights, and Jim Legary from Aquaventronics. Just a quick one from me. Thank you for all the reactions that we've had to the show. It's been a real positive, and kind of enjoy sitting in my kitchen here talking to you guys on Fridays and getting your questions. If you do have questions for the panel or for us, or any thoughts, anything you want to share, pop it in the comments below, and we'll feature you on the show. And if you want to get involved in the future episodes, let me know. Either leave it in the comments or send me an email, and we'll get you on. But without further ado, Eric, do you want to introduce yourself, say hi to the guys, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name's Eric Dooley with Deliver the Party. This is a little over a decade. This is our 11th year in the event rental space. I'm in West Central Illinois, so I'm right on the Illinois, Iowa, Missouri border. I'm on the Illinois side, but I could be in either one of those other 2 states in 15 minutes. So that gets you just kind of an idea of where I'm at. It's kind of a rural area, a lot of cornfields and bean fields. Usually it's a farming area. Our county has 20,000 people in it. I live in a population of right at 2,000 people in the town where I'm at. Wow. So we're kind of being affected by, and just like everyone else in this. And I, as a matter of fact, our governor just announced yesterday that not only will we be in a stay-at-home order for the month of April, but he extended that for another month for the month of May. So
wow. Well, we'll get on to that in a minute, but we'll meet the rest of the guys. Jim, from international feel to the show today. How are you doing up there in Canada?
Not too bad. So obviously I'm with Aquaventronics. My father and I started the company 13 years ago. A little bit unique position. I grew up in the amusement industry literally since day one. My father started a small go-kart track and grew it into a pretty medium-sized amusement park over the course of 20 years. He sold that off, but concurrently to that, he actually developed the remote shutdowns that are used on go-karts. So if you've almost been on a go-kart track anywhere in the world, there's a good chance that you have experienced some of that electronics that was developed here as well. So our family's been in the amusement business now for almost 37 years. Like I said, this is our 12th year with Aquaventronics, and we've taken over the Brothers Grimm's games along the way here about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we service 35 countries worldwide. Plus, we have customers from literally the backyard Bounce Guy all the way to Disney resorts, as you can see, Ripley's. We do a little bit of everything, and we're excited for the future. But the current position is something to be left desired. That's for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. It always amazes me. This industry, and it's been shown across the last 6 episodes that we're built on a foundation of family companies, and I think we're both similar in terms of how our tracks have gone. Eddie, from the UK, it's late there. How are you? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Very good. Yeah, thank you. I'm in the UK at the moment. I am actually based in Colorado normally, but I've come back to be with the family during the lockdown. I'm from the Bouncy Castle Network. Most of you will have heard of that as in the US now. We've been going for about 14 years. We are the global market leaders in event rental software and websites and booking systems. We've got 3,000 clients plus globally in Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, the whole of UK and Ireland. And we've grown a very successful brand from an early days. I initially set out in the rental business in 1998, doing back garden rentals, and did that for many years until we built the first booking system in 2004. And then from 2004, in 2006, the Bouncy Castle Network was formed. where I met the marketing wizard after Bally. And we started the Bouncy Castle Network. And
Fantastic.
we're here now. We've never stopped, never looked back, really.
Fantastic. And for those, maybe you do know me or not by now, Mike Winkup from Galaxy Multirides. We make a lot of stuff, mechanical bulls, inflatable parks, action games, that kind of thing. And this is our 30th year as manufacturers, with another 6 years on top of that as rental back in the UK. So that's our panel for today. We're going to be touching on a bunch of stuff, party rental based, small indoor facility based, communication, how you talk to your customers, or how not to in maybe some cases. If you've got any ideas or questions or thoughts on those topics, if you start putting them in the questions now, and then we can organize them for the end. But before we get to that, I just want to take a bit of a temperature and see how everyone's doing and what it's like in their area. So let's start internationally. Jim, what's it like in Canada and where you're based, and how has Aquaventronics dealt with the lockdown and
Sure.
state?
Canada in general, I would say, is we're not as dire as some of the other countries. We just, our population is way more sparsely distributed, that we don't have the same amount of transmission rates. But I mean, some of the centers like Toronto and Vancouver are not doing great. We're in Winnipeg, so we're centrally located. We're about an hour north of the North Dakota-Canada border. I'm in a city of about 1 million people. In our city right now, actually in our complete state, province, if you call it, we have 99 current active cases. We've only had, I believe, to date 7 deaths. And I mean, they are talking about the first stage of opening up our city back to, again, we're still in a state of emergency, so we don't have manufacturing's been exempt, but all restaurants, hair salons, dentists, everything's closed. But there is talk of them opening or starting to do something there in the next 2 weeks. So that doesn't necessarily help me. I only do 4% of my business in Canada, so I'm nowhere close to being out of the woods yet. But statistically, my probability of catching it is thankfully still fairly low in my city. So yeah, in terms of what we've done here, our guys are working 4 days a week. I have had to let a few go. Our labor system and laws and the support we're getting is a little bit different here. So we have, similar to what you guys have in terms of a payroll protection program, we have until about mid-June a program through the government that will pay 75% of an employee's wage, and it's their average earnings from January 1st to March 15th of the year. So I can really constructively try to keep making some inventory, making some advances for the next 3 months, and the government will help me along the way. We also have a loan system as well here in Canada, so you can apply for a $40,000 loan. If you repay $30,000 within a year, and you've used that for fixed costs like rent, overhead, things like that, they will forgive 25%. You'll effectively, hopefully, get a 10% or $10,000 forgiveness on $40,000. So those are really the programs that are available to us. We've definitely tried to take advantage of those now. Like all government things, they're not going as smoothly as I don't think anybody anticipated. But that is our current situation here, and that's, we're going to maintain probably till June and see where we are and reevaluate then at this stage. So
brilliant. And for those that don't know, you're manufacturing there in Canada, aren't you?
Yes. So we do everything. I mean, obviously we have suppliers all over. A lot of our metal leg assemblies come from the US. Like a lot of our products have components from the USA. Obviously, a lot of the LED lights and things come from overseas, but it's pretty limited. All the metal work, everything is all done here in Canada.
Yeah, so I can sympathize from a manufacturing point of view. Trying to, you guys are there that you've brought up and trained to do that. It's not some of the skills aren't so easily readily off the shelf. And I mean, I guess a lot of the people watching will sympathize. You don't learn to roll a bounce house or something like that, or put up a tent at school or anything. Eric, how are things with you? I mean, how's the impact been, apart from the obvious, with party rentals, and how are you getting through it?
For us with event rental, well, first of all, we're a family business. My wife Nicole, for those people that know us, my daughter Samantha, and even her boyfriend Zach. They're engaged now. He's been here for a long time, so it's really a family operation. So those people outside of our family, because of the shutdown that was forced upon us, being non-essential by our governor, we were forced to lay everyone off. So some time ago now, and so. But for us, you know what it's like when you're the owner. You come to work every day and you're continuing, as normal and as normal as possible under the conditions. And for us, it's a time for us to Coach Bird always says there comes a time every spring where you get asked what you did that fall and that winter. You know what I mean? And so if you've ever just wished, and I know I have, you could just pause everything for a little while so you could get caught up and get things done. I mean, now's the time to prove that. And so we're still here every day, and we kind of are diversified to some extent. We own real estate, and we've got apartment complexes and houses, commercial and residential real estate, single and multi-dwelling. And when it comes under that umbrella, it's never done. There's always a hallway that needs painted, an apartment that needs work, carpet shampoo, this or that. So because we do a variety of things as a family, the part where you come to work every single day and work is it hasn't changed, but the responsibility that you feel every single day to come to work and make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to make your event rental business successful under the current circumstances, we feel a lot of pressure in that area. If your employee who you laid off is concerned that they don't have any money coming in and they didn't file for unemployment, and that opportunity is there for them, then that they need to solve that problem. And I think right now, when we look at the landscape, whether it's federal programs or programs in our state or even in our county that are available for us to kind of replace lost revenue, we're looking and exploring those and having conversations about those every day to make sure that we've done what we can do to make sure that despite the expenses we still have and not being able to operate and generate that income, that those opportunities that are available to us to help solve that problem, that we're pursuing every one of those that we can. So, for us, you still wake up, you go to work, you do the best that you possibly can. And that's what we're doing as a family right now. And it's, I guess it's proof that rather the phone's ringing and you've got deliveries to make, there's work to do every single day despite that. And we'd like to think that our biggest focus is making sure that when things do turn around, that we're not able to look back at this and wish we would have or should have or could have done more during this time. We're doing all we can.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with you as in terms of wasted opportunity. I mean, I know from my sparkling new office here that I've been phenomenally busy, and this year for us was meant to be, still could be. I mean, this has put a dampener on things, no doubt, but I mean, we were really gathering some momentum with the inflatable parks, and we'd installed 20 in 2019, and we were projecting to be in the 30s this year. So a lot of my time was then consumed by physically designing product and designing parks, and marketing efforts and video kind of didn't get pushed to the side, but trying to find that time in the day. So a lot of my time has been still coming to work and getting through that stuff that we keep pushing aside, and trying to get efficient. And I think that could be a good lesson for anybody. I mean, how can you work on your business during this time when you haven't got, granted it's a nice distraction, but the distraction of the phone ringing and dealing with sales and dealing with staff. Eddie, I know that that's software, so it's a slightly different way in terms of not manufacturing or dealing with the general public. But how are things? I mean, it'd be great to get an opinion on both what you've seen in the US and in the UK, and how are you guys dealing with it?
Yeah, we're on week 5 of a 6-week lockdown. They did an initial 3 weeks in March. And when they did in March, we normally process about 60,000 bookings in March. And straight away it dropped to 12,000 bookings in March. And it then further dropped to 9,000 But we have seen in the last week or so an increase. We're back up near 24,000 bookings. So it seems people are looking more to the future. We've been helping people with the marketing strategies and link building and the promotion of the websites and how to get the best out of the data that they've got in the websites and utilizing that with graphics and stuff. We've prepared lots of graphics for when we come out of this lockdown ready, because we do believe that once it is out, people are going to want to have the parties. The birthdays are not going to be forgot about. They're still going to want to get together. They're certainly going to want to throw a bouncy castle up if they can. So we've seen a bit of a turn, I think, in the last 2 weeks, and we're looking forward to see what the 6 week will bring. We're hoping that they're going to start lifting some of the restrictions. I mean, they've said today that it'll be 6 months before anybody can have their hair cut, because the hairdressers are definitely not going to be open. I think it's the public houses and the bars and stuff that are going to be hit the hardest. But I think there's always going to be a big chunk of the social distancing sticking around for the next 12 months or so. And I think the rental companies have just got to get used to it, get tackled up and find a way around it of cleaning the castles and delivering them to the households without, so they can still get ahead with it. And if they do lift them restrictions, I think everybody's just waiting for them to say the lockdown's off, we're going to ease it. And I think they will start doing them, but in a different way. I mean, life's going to change for everybody going forward. And I think that's what they're all waiting for. But yeah, we've not laid any staff off. We have 15 full-time staff that were based in an office in Manchester in the UK. And then myself and my wife are out in Colorado. We've not laid any staff off. We've set everybody remotely. We've kept them all on. The problem is when you're working with software and customer support agents, it can take somebody between 3 and 6 months to learn the product. 13 years of building a product, there's a lot of features in there that are hidden and tucked away, and what it can do and what it can't do and the capabilities of it. So to lay staff off and give them the opportunity to go and find a job elsewhere, for me, wasn't the way forward. I've just said, we'll just have to get through this, keep the staff, because I know I can see light at the end of the tunnel. We're focusing about after what's going to happen when we get, down the line.
Absolutely. Yeah, I echo those sentiments, and I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I feel, I can speak from personal experience, but I feel like there's going to be this clamor and this bounce back that the attractions industry in a whole is going to feel. And I count in that, zoos, aquariums, any kind of attraction center, bars, restaurants, bowling alleys. There's going to be this kind of magnetic force of this polar opposite of wanting to be out and be doing things, but also the resistance of wanting to be near too many people. So, I mean, how do we think our customers go about, handling that kind of situation? I mean, Eric, as the party rent, I've done plenty of events, but as the current party rental guy here, have you thought about any strategies that you're going to communicate to your customers?
No, and what I mean by that is we try to wake up every day, and it can be frustrating, and it can be depressing, especially when you're in Illinois and they've continued, the stay-at-home order for more than a month. We're still in April, and it's going to be till June 1st, and we expect the opening to not be all of a sudden here in Illinois, where June 1st, everything's back to normal. We expect them to have maintained social distancing beyond the stay-at-home order. We expect the CDC to recommend small groups, maybe like they did early on, or no groups larger than 10 people. So we expect a very slow progression that's going to impact us for a very long time. And that's our realistic perspective. And generally we're overly optimistic, and I hope we're not being pessimistic in this case. And we've got some customers, normally this time of year, we're heavy in schools, post-proms and post-graduations and the final day of school events. And we'll have done 50 to 100 schools during this time of year. And we still have some that continue to push it back and push it back and push it back. And I still want the kids to have their post-prom or their post-graduation, and schools are pushing it back all the way to July. So we know that there's an appetite for events, that as soon as we're able to do events, we also know at the same time that we're hearing from the larger events that we do annually that they don't expect their events to continue this year, whether it's a fair or 4th of July celebration. So we want to be out there providing those services to our customers. and we're eager to do that. But right now, we think that there's more resistance to them having those upcoming events for the remainder of this year than we are optimistic that they're going to be, continuing to do them. So if we could find a solution that we thought made sense for them and for us, we would. And right now, like I've heard some other people talk about, and I think Jim mentioned, the uncertainty right now is probably one of the most difficult things to wrap your head around. Just the not knowing and the constant evolution of what changes every day and the news and the information that you get and how that's going to play out long term. For us, that's what we keep an eye on. And right now, we're not overly optimistic about really the remainder of this year. And not to be the pessimist in the group, that's the feedback that we're getting from the larger events that we would do between now and the end of the year, at least the end of the summer.
Right. I think it's a tough one, and I think it's how it's formulating those strategies, and it kind of brings us nicely onto the topic we wanted to talk about in terms of communication. Is how do you communicate with those clients, whether they be a new one or whether they be a loyal customer like you've been talking about, and how how you help them manage their expectations and still controlling your message. It applies both to us as well, Jim, as manufacturers. I mean, how do we communicate to our customers, and then how do our customers communicate to their customers? And I mean, do you have any ideas on like how have you attacked it? I mean, what are you thinking?
So I mean, literally from probably the second week of March, we've taken a pretty low key approach here. I mean, there's not a lot that I can really offer to anybody in this time, and to be fair, it's not something I'm really interested in doing. My goal here is we come out of the tunnel on the other side, and there is some sort of gradual increase in business. Will this set us back? For sure. I mean, we're projecting basically we're effectively at zero revenue now for almost 30 days in the busiest time of year. And if any of my orders that are postponing or whatever go ahead, that like I said, I'm going to take that as a win in terms of them still continuing to do business and them still being in business, obviously, because there's that possibility that not all of us are going to make it through here. And that's kind of why we've taken a little bit of a step back, is that I know that a lot of rental companies have the things they need to make money in the event that somebody gives them a call. They don't need to sell them the shiny new thing necessarily. At this point, they're happy just selling them anything. The one thing I would say, though, is, I mean, we see a big spectrum of obviously customer, because we have the guy doing the backyard party. We also have, a customer in Asia whose park is back operating at 50% capacity. So, I mean, there's a big difference there. But what I'm seeing a lot of is people are not necessarily, they're not over promising, but they're trying to sell something that they can't really guarantee at the expense of potentially just looking like they're trying to be the gimmick or whatever it is, right? I mean, you can say you sanitize your equipment when it comes back from a rental, but you can't say like, oh, hey, it's great for your kid's party still, or hold an event with us. I mean, it really should just be a focus on a stay-at-home use for your own family. I mean, anything beyond that, to me, you're just kind of stretching the realm of what people are gonna see as, you just trying exactly that, stretch it. I mean, even for parks and things like that, I mean, I've seen lots of people, oh, we're using this time to sanitize our facility. Well, I mean, you can say all the key buzzwords you want, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is the question I've asked a lot of our customers that I've phoned, and I said, if they opened up sporting events tomorrow and gave you a free ticket, would you show up? And if they told you, we've limited capacity to 50%, are they not also inherently telling you it's dangerous to show up? So, I mean, you get facilities. I mean, because we have such a, like we talk a lot with smaller FECs, like, are they even profitable running at 50% capacity? Can they even get staff? There's way bigger implications of all the payroll and aid. And, I have customers who basically said, I could open up tomorrow and I know I can't get any staff because they can make the same money or close to. And if they're a seasonal business, there is no incentive for those people to come back to work, especially if they feel there's an inherent risk. So, I mean, have we done something? Yesterday, we kind of took our water logo and put a mask on him, and he's shooting a bottle of sanitizer. I mean, are we trying to stay on people's mind? For sure. I'm here to support anybody any way they can. If they think they need marketing material or whatever, we're going to try to develop things for when things do get better. But to be honest, like, there's not much I can do or say to make things better for people now. And I mean, I think when the time is right, we're going to attempt to do that for people and support them how we can with our product, without our product. I think in general, the industry is going to have to come together here to make sure people know it's safe to have fun, right? It's but it also has to be safe to have. It has to be safe for you to start sending off those messages, or you just run the risk of creating more, clatter in the
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one to manage because you want to maintain that presence with your customers, and it's so sensitive because you don't want to you don't want to seem like you're pushing or trying to sell products and you're not acutely aware of what's going on in the world. I mean, we sent out our first email since February this week, and it was basically just a recap of, hey, we're still here. I mean, luckily, I've been designing a park for the Middle East, a concept, and we've been selling a couple of units here and there, which is really encouraging and promising to see that people are planning forward. And then just sharing this concept that, if we're trying to help as much as we can, and if we can help in some way, let us know. And it's just keeping that dialogue open. I'd never judge somebody for the messaging they sent out, but I just want to make sure people are very mindful of how they word things, because emails, we can't, as best as we can tell, as best as we try, I should say, we can't apply tone and pitch to an email, and how one person will read it is totally different of how it's probably meant to sound. Eddie, do you have any tips for, I know that you guys have done a lot of pre-designed graphics and Aftab's been busy boy, but do you have any tips for people communicating in emails with their customers?
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time working without it's been nice to have the foot off the gas and not as many sales coming in, and be able to concentrate on the customers that we have got and help those that they don't normally have their time because they're busy out doing rentals. From March through to October, they never speak to you. We don't hear from them. So it has actually been nice that they've been able to contact us, and we can help them further with the websites and show them some cool features and teach them the best way to get maximize their business. And we've spent a lot of time with individual customers, especially the customer support staff, because they've been working remotely. They've been able to spend a lot more time on the telephone with them and go into more detail with them and actually help them cut a few graphics out. Aftab's done a fantastic job. He's made loads of graphics. He made some graphics this and put them in the American groups. And they were saying, can you put my logo on that? Could you make it red? Could you make it green? And he was like a one-stop shop for Photoshop. He's the king of crayons in the UK. So obviously he's just been churning the graphics out to help everybody in the world, really. They're not even customers. We've been helping everybody just to help them through this. We created some online games and we put them on the websites so parents could put the kids on and they could play some gaming on the website. So they were still going back to the website. We created loads and loads of colouring graphics and put customers' logos on them so they could send them out to their customers to have colouring competitions to get likes on Facebook, which has been interacting with the customers and the customers' kids and keeping, well, they're all sat at home off school, the schools are all closed. They've been doing colouring competitions, then posting the winner and giving them a free rental when the lockdown's been finished. So, yeah, we've been really working hard to keep everybody engaged, keep them happy, show them all the cool stuff in the website that a lot, it's like any piece of software. Most people only use 10-15% of your actual software, whereas when they get into it and start using 60-70%, they realize how cool it is and what they're actually paying for. Then it comes to life. And I think when we come out of this on the other side, there's going to be a lot of people using a lot more features on the system, that we've built over the years that sometimes just got missed and forgot about.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I suddenly realize how I thought I was pretty good at Salesforce. It turns out that I'm below average, and the things that I've learned in the last 4 weeks, so I think anybody that starts getting emails from myself or from the company, hopefully you're impressed and let me know. We have a question from Pamela. I'll throw it up here. It won't show the whole question. Eric, are you doing cleaning videos and also offering no contact delivery? We did a cleaning video, but mainly send out just fun social media stuff right now to keep us in their mind. Keeping on with the positive vibes right now. So are you, I mean, it applies to everybody. Are you seeing cleaning videos and those as an example of an effective form of marketing?
What I like about entrepreneurs is they always see opportunity, and I always do. And so I understand exactly what Pam's saying, is that we can still stay in contact with our customers. And I think the longer this goes on, especially in my state, and you hear about some of the businesses that there's concerns whether or not they're going to be able to make it through it, that we can reassure our customers that we're here and that we're anxious for this to be over and anxious to be of service to them again is really important. And it is an opportunity to be able to provide some information to them. And just like Eddie's able to do things with this time that he wouldn't be able to do otherwise under normal circumstances, I think all those things are really important. Unfortunately, from that the attitude of get out there and hustle and make it happen, I've never really felt more handcuffed, because we happen to be in a state where it's shut down. I mean, we're at a stay-at-home order. We're non-essential. Unless you're essential business, you cannot operate. It's not optional for us. So we're not able to go out there and provide backyard parties and do deliveries. But I like what Pam's saying. We talk about it all the time internally. Again, is that entrepreneurial, you're never finished, it's never complete, there's always more you can do. We could be taking better pictures and better videos of our products for our website than we have now, and do all the things that you wish you could have done or that's always bothered you that you've never finished. And so there's an endless list of things that we can do to prepare to hit the ground running as soon as that opportunity presents itself to us. And I like to think that we're dividing our time and working on as many of those as we possibly can balance right now. But unfortunately, no, for us, we're not able to offer, a type of delivery service that allows us to continue to operate, because we're just not in an area where that's allowed right now.
Yeah, I mean, and my comments on that is I'd again be careful, because when this all started to kick off, all these cleaning videos and we sanitize. I mean, as you said, Jim, we sanitize our indoor center. You kind of question, well, shouldn't you be doing that anyway? So you've really got to balance it. If you're going to do it with some humor, but I wouldn't, if it was me personally, I wouldn't push we're keeping it, we actually clean our equipment, because that should be a prerequisite already. A thought that popped into my head while we were talking there. What do you guys think about as we go through the rest of 2020 and the uncertainty of if and when, different waves and when this virus is going to come back? Are we going to see more popularity in indoor attractions? So I don't just mean FECs, because I think they will be popular, but I mean smaller games, Jim, or I mean from what we make, mechanical bulls inside. Should customers be maybe thinking about their, because a lot of our customers that are watching right now have got giant slides and things like that. Should they be turning their attention to versatility and getting stuff inside?
I mean, to be honest, what I think the immediate need and the immediate response is going to be is if they don't fully lift a stay-at-home order, as in it's some kind of progression and they're still basically shutting down entertainment. I mean, I'm not going to lie. My games are probably not going to position you very well in the immediate future, because it's going to be a singular backyard, not party even. It's going to be a singular backyard rental, and it might be that water slide in the summer that but it's going to be interesting because I don't think it'll be your typical customer. It's going to be you now have a wider exposure to much larger amount of entertainment dollars. Now, yes, internally, the entertainment dollars are shrinking because people are out of work and they're not working, but they want to be entertained. So, I mean, if you're in Florida and you're competing with Disney and local parks that have a good offering and for whatever reason, people don't feel it's safe to go there, or I mean, they may take that $400 and rent a water slide from their backyard. And if it's a new customer, I mean, you really got to roll out the red carpet and take advantage of those opportunities and try to turn that into a reoccurring revenue source for yourself, right? It's if they have a good positive experience, you can snowball that into, you know, a neighbor or a friend or a relative. I mean, don't let the crisis go to waste in terms of allocate or, you know, acquiring new customers. But do I see the indoor? I mean, I see the indoor stuff getting bigger towards the fall again, just because the trend is always towards indoor as you get to the fall. I think realistically, that is probably more likely a scenario where things are a little more relaxed. So, I mean, yeah, if you're in one of these seasonal positions, I mean, you gotta. I hate to say it, but I mean, it's going to be a long, winding road here that you may have to position yourself for something indoors in the fall. But at the same time, the uncertainty is just enormous, right? I mean, I wouldn't go out as much as I'd love for people to buy my equipment tomorrow. I mean, I'm a realist, right? Don't take on debt you don't need. You know, manage your expenses very, very wisely. Try to make the best of, like I said, any of those customers that do come. You have the opportunity now to basically give them your undivided attention. I mean, you might as well try to improve that. If you don't know your business metrics, get down to business and figure out why you are or aren't making money and what is not, or, you know, making you money. Lots of people don't know how to allocate overheads and things like that. And I mean, if you're in business, you got to be in business, right? So, do I think, is there any one solution for equipment? I don't know. I mean, it's going to really be interesting to see how long this draws out. Like I said off before, is if parks are at 50%. I mean, I don't know if they're profitable at 50%, especially the bigger ones. And so then to me, it's like, well, they may not open at all, and there's more entertainment dollars for you, right? There's going to be some big opportunities here if we transition into a recession. Small entertainment is done statistically exceptionally well in a recessive economy. Right. I mean, it is about weathering the storm here. It's not necessarily about how bad it gets on the other end, because entertainment has always done well. It's just we've never seen an instance where globally there's just no public entertainment. I mean, it's not something I ever forecast for.
Well, no.
So like, do I have the globe that's going to give the answer? No, but I would say probably in the immediate future, you're looking at singular rentals. I mean, you're looking at probably singular rental tickets. You're probably not even able to upsell, you know, a carnival game to a backyard family. Could you get an electronic game or an arcade game in? I mean, I've seen some of my customers offering month rentals for, you know, 2-day pricing, and they drop it off and bring it in your basement or whatever. If that's going to make you money or cash flow you, sure. You really have to be careful on those value propositions that you don't devalue yourself for the other side. Is that
exactly?
It's going to be a race to the bottom in the best case scenario here, especially if it gets depressed more. You're going to see the guys who aren't insured dropping their prices to the floor for multi-day rentals. And I mean, you're going to have to figure out a way to differentiate yourself and not lose sight of the fact that you need to maintain an entry point to stay profitable. I mean, yeah, your equipment's sitting there, but like having it abused for nothing is no good to you later. You know?
Yeah, using this time to work on your company instead of in your company is crucial, and understanding your true, you know, it's staggering having some conversations with, you know, rental companies or small parks or even manufacturers that I know that don't really have a grip on what their true overhead is.
Yeah.
and getting down to that right now is going to make sure that you come out of this a lot stronger. I would never really judge somebody for bringing money in, but you do got to account for how much, we'll take a mechanical bull, for example, how much damage, it's a significant investment, anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 US dollars. Is it worth the $300 that you're getting? Well, on the one hand, maybe, because your company survives another day, but what happens if there's $300 of damage to that machine and then you can't use it for future events? So there is this balancing act. I will say, before I get onto this next question, I will say that as an industry, I do think we really need to look after our early adopters, people that are going to come back and support us from the very beginning. So when things do start to get better, you do, and I know I've said this in previous shows, you look after those customers because they're going to be the customers that are going to spread your good word. If you look after them, that word of mouth is going to travel far better than any email, social posts, things like that. So making your decisions now on how you look after those customers, whether you're an indoor center and you're doing 25% reduced capacity to build up customer confidence, or whether you're a rental company giving that discount for somebody or giving them an extra day or a weekend for the price of one day rental, building that kind of goodwill, because as much as there's a lot of doom and gloom around, and as I look out the window, it's pouring down here in Florida. Not that I'd expect any sympathy from anybody. It has brought, I have seen cases where it has brought a lot of communities together because we're fighting a common enemy. And I think you can ride that wave and build up some kind of marketing and strategy behind it. I've got quite a lengthy question here from Lee Kings. I think he's in the UK. I'm going to skip past most of it, but basically his question is, how do you, for people that are still doing hires now, I know, Eric, that you're not able to, and same here in Florida, we're on lockdown. For those that can do events, how do you deal with the negative attention that you might get once things open, or when you do reopen and you start going back to work, and if people don't agree with the politics of whether you should be open or not, how do you deal with that in terms of a marketing standpoint? So that's from Lee. I don't know who wants to jump on that one.
I mean, I can offer what little input I have, and I would say if you're getting pushback, likely those scenarios don't end well for you in any way. Like you really have to kind of gauge the temperature of your market and act appropriately. There's no sense in trying to get into PR battles with people. I mean, I've personally seen a local water slide park here. The owner posted some weird things on her personal page, and I mean, it snowballed into a social media campaign against her. I mean, you got to tread lightly. You have to. There's no sense in being a trailblazer here, because unless you're certain it's a road to profitability, I would take the cautious, optimistic approach here, and really, keep the temperature of your community in mind, and yeah, if you can address some of those concerns, try to do that. But if there's significant pushback, I mean, you gotta really evaluate that risk to your business.
Yeah. What do you think, Eric? I mean, say the stay-at-home order was lifted May 1st. I know it's not going to be, and you were back to work the next week hiring. Obviously, you're not going to make everybody happy, and some people are going to be, it's the world. Everyone's got a. There's always an opinion on something, but how do you manage those expectations of people? People that are angry that you're either not hiring or angry that you are hiring. I know you can't make everyone happy, but have you got any advice for Lee there?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jim. I mean, it's a no-win situation because you can't. This is difficult because you can't take the high road when it comes to safety and people concerned about the well-being of their family. And this is a real difficult one. And we've had this conversation internally, similar to this. What if we could do events is that something? How soon would we do? What type of events would we be willing to participate in? And we've actively been having a conversation about that. And so I think it'll be a real challenge moving forward. Who's going to be, in immediately prepared to go out there and provide those events, and what type of venues, and just if they limit it to groups no more than 10, and you've got a large group that want you to come out and provide service to them, you're operating the mechanical bull at that event, and there's a group of 100 people there. I mean, I think there's real challenges, and in the media, even locally, there's been, events that have taken place that have, soon turned out to be on TV, you know what I mean? And so become part of the nightly news. So it's going to be a difficult transition, because I agree with what I'm hearing in this group is that it's not going to be an open door one day. It's going to be a slow transition from where we're at today to some sense of normalcy in the future, and how we tread those waters between here and there are going to be some really difficult decisions, I think, moving forward. And I think that you're going to find us erring on the side of caution and taking a real cautious approach and trying to make real informed decisions about the type of events and what we'll be doing in the future. And it's not just our customers, it's our team. It's the people that you put out there that are at that customer's location providing those services, and making sure that we're putting our position and our brand in a name in a position to succeed, and that reflects good on our company.
Yep. Sorry, you caught me. I missed the end of that. I was reading the next question that was coming in, but yeah, I think the general consensus on all of that is that you tread lightly, and if we had the answers, would be a lot better off. I think we'd be doing more shows than just Facebook Live right now. I have a question from AD Preston. I've seen a lot of social media, hire companies are going to increase their pricing. This is something maybe in the UK that I don't know if you've seen it in the US, but people increasing their prices of their rentals. Do you think this could damage the company as it's seen as taking advantage of the situation? Eddie, have you seen much of that? Because,
the prices in the UK it's been a race to the bottom. I heard you mention a race to the bottom. It's been a race to the bottom for the last 6 or 7 years in the UK. And I've always said it, that, they undervalue what they're doing. They're all trying to do the cheapest instead of get the prices up and provide better service. And it was a shock for me coming out to the US and spending 6 months there and seeing how you guys operate and what your cost of your insurance is, and the cost of the inflatables is relatively similar. But the rental costs compared to the UK, they're giving them away in the UK. And it is a race to the bottom. And we've always said, as Bouncy Castle Network, we charge top dollar for the website. There's cheaper options out there. We charge the top price for the website. And we say to people, you should be able to get better prices. When I came into the industry, a 12 by 12 inflatable was £2,500, which is about $3,200, something like that. Mm-hmm. That's what we cost per unit. And I was buying unit. I had to work a long time to buy my second unit, whereas now it seems they can go and buy 5 for that price. So it has been a big race to the bottom. I'd like to see prices rise up. What may happen is that the lower end, the smaller guys in the market might fall out of it. Right. And that will give a more opportunity for the bigger guys to stay in control and get the prices. Get the price should be slightly higher. They're going to realise when they make losses like this or something, if they're running hand to mouth all the time, they're going to realise that they need to put that little nest egg away, and they need to be making money to be able to do that. I think what they all do is strive to buy the next inflatable, so they work to buy the next inflatable and empties the pocket out. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think that circles back to knowing your overhead and what things cost. Myself, having I've been here 12 years now, but still English. So having one foot in the UK and one foot here in the US, seeing how people undervalue their equipment and, just in delivery costs. I mean, the fuel costs in the UK are astronomical compared to the majority of the US. It baffles the mind how people can survive. But to answer your question, AD, I don't think it would be seen as taking advantage of the situation. I think it's it's a positive thing, like we've touched upon, that you understand your costs and you know your worth. Is it worth your time going out taking, because it's not, even though the inflatables and the equipment in the UK is a little bit smaller and lighter than some of the monsters that maybe Eric's used to dragging around, it's still a physically demanding job. And is it worth your time? So I don't think the general public would immediately spring to think that their local bouncy castle company is price gouging or anything like that.
I mean, I would add to that. I mean, this is really about brand positioning, right? It's no different than in every other industry. If you want to be the McDonald's of bounce houses, I mean, go out and get it. You be the McDonald's of bounce houses, right? But if you weren't the McDonald's of bounce houses before, it will damage your reputation, because your customer that rented for $400 and now is renting for $100. I mean, his inherent mindset is that he got ripped off. And yes, it was a before pandemic time, but I mean, you have to pay attention to brand awareness. You have to pay attention. I'm all for people pivoting and trying something new, but I mean, make sure that what you're doing is really what you want to be doing when it's over, should it work out. Is that if you think you want to be the McDonald's now, and you really want to be the steak guy in the end, I mean, it's a long road back to the steak guy from McDonald's. It's if you want to stay the course, you're probably more likely to continue to be the steak guy in the end. It's about communication, though. If you have to raise your prices because your costs have gone up because you're spending 4 times longer cleaning a unit, I mean, communicate that to people. We have this conversation here, like, if a park's operating at 50% capacity with full staff plus extra people cleaning and wiping, and I mean, that cost is got to be incurred somewhere. I mean, and at what cost to your business? So if it's safe in that environment, it might cost a premium when this thing turns around. Just like an event, right? If an event for 50 people comes out, you might need hand sanitizing stations, wash stations, disinfecting between, every half an hour, on a whole bounce out. I mean, I don't know what that looks like, but I mean, the possibility exists that your costs will be much higher on the backside of this. And yeah, you're going to have to make sure you communicate that.
Yeah, without doubt. I think everybody's costs are going to increase, from staff protection to the cleanliness and your marketing. And it just kind of reinforces the point that we've been talking about, is that how you deal with what's going on now is going to have a real bearing on how you go forward as a company and your relationship with your customers. It's super important to get on top of that, guys, and be really mindful of how you communicate with them, both in your professional social media and your private. And I've got a little example here. She's a friend, and she won't watch this, so she won't mind me saying, but she's a real estate agent here in Florida. And for those that know, it's a bit different in the UK from your normal estate agent, but real estate is just built off your reputation, and it's absolutely everything. Something gets ruined with that, and then you're kind of done. And in her private Instagram stories, it's all anti-Bill Gates. It's all 5G caused coronavirus. And I've tried to educate her, and it's not sinking in. So just be what you think may be funny, or you hold a certain political view, or opinion of something. Just think twice. Would you walk into a room of your customers and scream at the top of your lungs? Because that's effectively what you're doing. Carrie, this is a big one. I don't know if we've got enough time for this one, Carrie, but we will give it a go. The only question is for me is how to survive this without income until April 2021. I think it's a question for all of us, to be honest. I don't think you're alone in that, Carrie. Eric, you've diversified your business quite a bit. Tell us a little bit about what you do in different times of the year, and seeing if Carrie can get any ideas from you, or,
I think probably a lot of us got into this business because it was appealing in some way. We were really excited about it. Anytime that you can turn something that you're really passionate about into the work that you do, it seems a lot less like work. So for us, we were really fortunate, just by coincidence, that we spent some time in the commercial lighting business for residential and commercial customers for Christmas and holiday lighting. And to the extent that we've been trained and certified, and in a nearby community who for almost 2 decades had a very large Christmas drive-through display. That group retired from that project, and now that community has gone some time without one. And so last year, after a few years of planning as a family and a lot of work, we restored that community's Christmas drive-through display. So that was a massive project that required us to lease a park and really go to work every day for about 6 months, months prior to the opening, to set up about a 3-mile long immersive experience through tunnels and arches and Christmas displays, and then operating the display for the month of December, and then a couple of months of packing up those displays and putting them away. So for us, coincidentally, that's really almost a 12-month out of the year project. It always needs our attention. We're working on it constantly. So in this time, we're able to that much more prepare and get ready for the new display that we'll be putting up in that same park, for years to come. So
social
what's that?
Social distancing or not, somebody's going to get in their car and drive through that display.
Yes. That's probably the most exciting things for us about it is you want to sink your teeth into something that you feel like is, like she's saying, what about income till 2021? You worry about the things that you're doing today and what type of results that they're going to create. And for us, we feel like that drive-through display, when, no better time to be forced to stay in your car and then now. And so, I'm not so sure it won't be the most important year ever for that drive-through display, with the uncertainty that everybody has right now, being able to go out during the holidays. And probably my favorite part of the project was, how important to the people in the community that project was, how meaningful it was to them, and how excited they were to have their Christmas display, their family tradition back in the community. And so maybe now more than ever this year, that'll be an exciting opportunity for them to go out with the family and observe that Christmas display. So plenty of work for us to do in that arena.
I think you might be surprised, Eric. I think people, events like that, or anything that's drive-through or interactive like that, I think you're really gonna see some big popularity there. I had a friend. She's got 3 daughters, and one of them is a senior, and it's tragic. I mean, I didn't go through the American school system, but it's tragic that these kids don't get to graduate, and or they are graduating with no one seeing, and no proms and things like that. And it's been festering in my mind a little bit. I just threw out an idea of, couldn't you do small prom parties where, because I'm sure that a lot of people watching have got plenty of 10 by 10 easy up tents. You could separate kids out, and then they just decorate their own tent and have like a DJ in the middle or something, and they're still together within, I don't know. I have not planned this. This is just me speaking straight out of my brain. So there's no coherent thought here, but maybe what I'm trying to get at is look at the equipment that you've got and get creative. Seeing, if you can suggest something to somebody. Could you do a prom party for 20 kids and they're all in their own, or 10 kids and they're all in their own 10 by 10 tent, and to keep them occupied, they've got to decorate their own tent with lights, and I don't know. But something, look at your inventory, because we all carry, I say we in the rental industry, I've done it for too many years. I don't do it anymore, but we all have more inventory than we probably need. So can we utilize that in another way and, try and get creative? That's I've got no other questions, and we're coming up bang on an hour now, so I'm gonna wrap this up for this week. I do want to remind everybody about last week's episode. It wasn't live; it was a broadcast because I was tied up with meetings, and it kind of focuses on working on your business. So it was it doesn't sound interesting, but it was jam-packed full of good information. It was an hour-long tax seminar from our corporate tax lawyers, Alan Gassman. And everything from PPP to disaster loan to force majeure, life insurance, dealing with staff, unemployment, anything that you need to know tax-wise, liability, it is well worth a watch. And and I hope to have confirmation over the weekend, but next Friday we will have an FEC specific show with some real titans in the industry, FEC Global Award winners, and some service providers. So if you do run an FEC, or you do want to learn some lessons from the FEC realm arena, then log on. This has been broadcast on multiple pages and in groups across Facebook, but the main source is the Galaxy Multi-Rides page. And if you click like there and follow us, and then get reminders, you click on the button, it will tell you every time we go live. At the moment, we're doing every Friday at 3:30 Eastern time. That's 12:30 Pacific, and 8:30 at night if you're in the UK, Europe. But you can watch it again and again, however much you want. I'd like to thank all of our guests. If they've got nothing else to share, I just wanted to thank them for the time. And yeah, look after yourself, guys, and be safe. And any other questions that come in on the feed afterwards, we'll try to get to. Or if you want to be a guest on future episodes, then let us know. But unless I'll throw it out to the floor one more time. Has anybody got any final remarks?
Thank you, Mike.
I'd like everybody to stay safe, and let's get through this together.
Yeah, we'll stick together. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll, for my guests, don't click on anything yet. I'll sort you out in a minute. But for now, I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.